But I go, can I just try another one? That moment comes and I just go, this is Sparta!
While Gerard Butler's performance in 300 was famously punctuated by his ferocious war cry, "This is Sparta!" What the audience never saw was the immense turmoil, suffering, and near madness that took place off camera. Now, years later, Butler has broken his silence to reveal the astonishing and brutal reality of the film's production. Are you curious to learn the shocking truths the movie never showed you? We'll reveal the behind-the-scenes secrets Butler finally brought to light. When 300 debuted in theaters in early March 2007, few people expected it to become one of the most talked about movies of that year. Directed by Zack Snyder and based on Frank Miller's iconic graphic novel, the film did not rely on a roster of A-list stars or traditional historical narrative. Instead, it presented a highly stylized vision of the Battle of Thermopylae using a mix of bold visuals, slow-motion action, and powerful acting. Seen as a major gamble by many in the industry, the film shattered all expectations at the box office. On its opening weekend, 300 earned an incredible $70 million in ticket sales. This enormous success caught Hollywood off guard, especially given the film's modest $60 million budget. The momentum didn't stop there. 300 ultimately went on to gross more than $456 million globally, making it one of the most profitable and discussed films of its year. Its financial performance proved that there was a strong appetite among moviegoers for something innovative, something that pushed the boundaries of both narrative and visual artistry. Media outlets like Business Insider and Wikipedia have both cited this unexpected triumph as a watershed moment for the genre of stylized cinema. Beyond its impact on pop culture and the rise of memes, 300 also launched a significant fitness craze. The finely sculpted bodies of the Spartan soldiers, especially Gerard Butler's portrayal of King Leonidas, set a new benchmark for on-screen physical strength. Audiences everywhere began asking how the cast achieved such incredible results. Soon, fitness publications and personal trainers introduced the now legendary 300 workout, a high-intensity routine used by the cast in preparation for their roles. According to GQ, this training regimen gained widespread public attention and led to a broader cultural discussion about physical discipline, masculinity, and determination. Gyms started offering their own Spartan-themed classes, and the film's influence on fitness culture continued to grow for a long time after its theatrical run concluded. The film 300 wasn't just a blockbuster. What most viewers are unaware of is the harsh reality that lay behind the camera. Hidden beneath the grand battles and stylized visuals was an absolutely brutal production filled with relentless pain, immense sacrifice, and grueling effort. None of this was ever visible to the public until Gerard Butler finally spoke about it. When he began to disclose the real story of what the cast and crew went through, it unveiled a story far more intense than anything that was shown on screen. Let's delve into the shocking and unexpected details that fans never saw. Director Zack Snyder's goal was to bring Frank Miller's graphic novel to life with a near shot-for-shot precision and revolutionary digital backlot techniques. Using advanced blue-screen technology and heavy visual effects, Snyder created a breathtaking, mythic world of war and violence. However, the reality of the set was anything but mythical. It was a daily grind of injuries, physical exhaustion, and emergency hospital trips. In one revealing interview, Butler confessed, "I remember every day somebody was getting taken to the hospital." He said, "You'd be doing a fight. You turn around, there's a guy down there. A spear went in his eye. Another time, you turn around, there's a guy over there who just fell, broke his ankle." I mean, it was insane. The choreographed combat may have looked seamless on screen, but the physical demands often resulted in chaos. Even with dull tips, the replica weapons still posed a serious danger. During one fight sequence, a spear came dangerously close to an actor's eye. In another incident, a cast member fractured an ankle after a mistimed fall. These were not isolated occurrences. The movie required actors to perform countless takes of high-impact stunts, all while wearing heavy armor and moving in tight spaces surrounded by blue screens. There was no margin for error, yet injuries were constant. This was a direct result of Snyder's choice to shoot the action himself. Instead of using professional stunt doubles, many of the actors were expected to perform their own fight scenes. This approach led to a more authentic and powerful on-screen result, but at a huge personal cost. The actors pushed their bodies to the absolute limit. Bruises, muscle tears, and cuts were commonplace. There were no easy days on set. Every moment of on-screen glory was built on sweat, suffering, and relentless physical effort. Since so much of the film was created with digital effects, the cast had to rely on pure imagination and endurance. They fought enemies that weren't there, swung swords against green screen backdrops, and maintained their character through hours of repetitive and exhausting movements. It was an ordeal that fused acting with extreme physical training. Butler often spoke of feeling completely drained, both physically and mentally, by the time each day ended. Despite the pain, the cast continued to push forward. For Butler, portraying a Spartan king meant embracing the hardship that came with it. The numerous hospital visits and scars were just a part of the price they had to pay. What audiences saw as heroic was, in reality, a product of a punishing and often dangerous work environment. As if the on-set injuries were not enough, what truly tested the cast's limits was the brutal physical preparation that occurred well before filming even began. The transformation into Spartan warriors for 300 didn't start with makeup or costumes. It began months before, in the training rooms of Jim Jones, where Gerard Butler and his co-stars underwent one of the most rigorous fitness regimens ever seen in a Hollywood production. To truly embody the warrior King Leonidas, Butler trained without a break for a full 7 months. His daily sessions were long and exhausting, lasting up to 6 hours a day. The training included a combination of CrossFit routines, intense bodybuilding, grueling sword fighting drills, and relentless circuit training. According to sources like Gerard Butler, Net and Gerard Butler Gels, this was no typical Hollywood fitness plan. It was a total physical and mental overhaul designed to turn regular men into mythic figures. The entire training program was run by elite fitness expert Mark Twite at Jim Jones. Twite's methods were extreme and were meant to push the actors far beyond what they thought their bodies could handle. With a no-nonsense attitude and a results-first mindset, Twite merged high-intensity CrossFit workouts with traditional conditioning, weightlifting, and martial arts. The training even incorporated simulated combat situations to prepare the cast for the physical reality of their on-screen fights. In between takes on set, the actors continued working out, often doing calisthenics or lifting weights to maintain their physique for the camera. This wasn't just about looking powerful. It was about becoming powerful. The Spartan warriors needed to look as though they were carved from stone, but also move with the power and precision of true soldiers. The goal was to build not just muscle, but authentic, functional strength and endurance. As highlighted by sources such as The Ultimate Primate and How Stuff Works, the cast didn't just lift weights. They flipped heavy tires, swung kettlebells, sprinted through obstacle courses, and did countless push-ups and pull-ups in rapid succession. Martial arts drills were repeated again and again, blending precise choreography with realistic movement. The purpose was clear: to prepare the actors not just for a film, but for battle. Gerard Butler has openly discussed how punishing the training was, later admitting that it nearly destroyed his body. The constant wear and tear resulted in painful injuries, including tendonitis, hip damage, and a torn rotator cuff. At one point, Butler could barely lift his arms due to the strain. He pushed through it all, motivated by the need to genuinely embody Leonidas. His commitment wasn't just physical, but also emotional. Butler later told Business Insider that the training was ruining his body, especially during filming when the physical toll never eased up. Long days on set were followed by even more workouts, sometimes just to maintain muscle definition or to prepare for the next action scene. It was a vicious cycle of exhaustion and effort. The training didn't stop when filming started, it only became more difficult. The pain, in his words, helped him achieve the intensity of a real Spartan leader. For Butler, playing Leonidas meant more than just memorizing his lines. It was about sacrificing, suffering, and earning every moment he was on screen. The official 8-week training program that most of the cast followed became famous in its own right. It combined CrossFit routines, high rep weight circuits, and brutal endurance drills to create the Spartan body in record time. The training became so legendary that it was later released online and adopted by gyms around the world. Fans and fitness enthusiasts attempted the routine themselves, with many finding it nearly impossible to complete. But beyond the physical torment and demanding routines, what truly set Gerard Butler apart was the level of personal dedication he brought to the role. Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. According to one news outlet, Butler's way of embodying Leonidas was both unique and immersive. He practiced meditation regularly, claiming he attempted to channel Leonidas through a weird portal. For Butler, it wasn't enough just to perform as a warrior on camera. He wanted to truly experience the mindset of a man who would lead 300 soldiers into certain death. This daily meditative practice helped him dig deep into the character's soul, bringing a sense of emotional realism and immense power to his performance. This level of dedication went far beyond internal work. Butler also chose to perform many of his own stunts, despite the significant risks involved. He believed that doing the action himself would make the role more believable. It wasn't just about impressing the audience. It was about honoring the character. In one of the film's key battle sequences, Butler threw himself into the action with such vigor that he later described the experience as one of the biggest adrenaline highs of his career. Every swing of his sword and every defiant shout came from a place of total emotional and physical investment. This intense involvement was not without danger. Although the film was shot in a controlled studio environment, Butler and the cast were no strangers to real-life risks. People.com reported that Butler frequently put his own safety at risk, not only during 300 but in projects that followed. For instance, he suffered hypothermia while filming in Iceland and experienced terrifying moments during explosive car stunts in another movie with Pierce Brosnan. These challenges show how Butler has consistently put himself in dangerous situations for the sake of realism and intensity. His performance in 300 was just the beginning of a career defined by courage and dedication. The set of 300 also presented unique production challenges that demanded adaptability and focus. According to Screen Rant, very little of the film's blood and gore was practical. Most of it was digitally added in post-production. This meant that the actors had to visualize everything and react accordingly without any of the normal visual cues. There were no exploding blood packs or detailed makeup effects to guide them. Instead, Butler and his co-stars had to imagine the chaos of battle while performing in front of blue screens. This required immense concentration and acting skill, especially during emotionally charged or physically draining scenes. Butler's full-body commitment to Leonidas, both mentally and physically, helped define his career and solidify the legacy of 300. He didn't just study a script or remember lines. He entered a psychological state where he truly felt what it meant to lead men into battle and face death without fear. His willingness to perform stunts, endure pain, and embrace risk created a performance that felt raw and genuine, even in a film filled with digital effects and stylized violence. Now that you know the extent of Butler's commitment to becoming Leonidas, let's take you behind the scenes of the set itself, where cutting-edge technology and a visionary style transformed a simple warehouse into a world of myth and war. Zack Snyder's vision for 300 was clear from the start. He wanted to bring Frank Miller's graphic novel to life in a way that no other comic book adaptation had ever done before. Snyder's blueprint was a near-shot-for-shot recreation of Miller's panels, a visual experience that closely followed the dramatic style of the source material. According to Screen Rant, approximately 90% of the film's shots were heavily dependent on visual effects. Snyder used extensive blue screen technology to create the mythic world of Sparta, giving the entire film a painterly look that felt like a graphic novel in motion. Let's explore the process. Rather than building large sets or traveling to historical locations, the entire movie was shot in a studio in Montreal. It was a hot, cramped environment where the cast performed almost every scene surrounded by blue screens and very few physical props. The world of the Spartans, from the cliffs of Thermopylae to the god king's throne room, was digitally created in post-production. This allowed Snyder to have complete control over every element, from lighting to weather, pushing the visuals to a mythic level. However, this came at a significant cost. The intense artificial lights required to achieve the film's signature contrast and dramatic skin tones added heat to the studio, making the set physically uncomfortable. The actors endured extreme temperatures and physical exhaustion. Gerard Butler, who played King Leonidas, experienced the worst of it. He later revealed that he passed out during filming due to dehydration and overexertion. Long hours under hot lights, while wearing armor and performing intense fight choreography, took a heavy toll. They were constantly pushed to their physical and mental limits. The commitment to this stylized approach also meant making creative choices that prioritized tone over realism. One such example is the scene with the Oracle. Her mysterious and almost nonsensical lines were not entirely scripted. According to Screen Rant, much of her dialogue was improvised to enhance her character's eerie, dreamlike quality. These choices further emphasized Snyder's goal, to create a world based not on historical accuracy but on symbolism and legend. Every movement, line, and background detail was carefully crafted to reflect the themes of destiny, sacrifice, and glory. In addition to its visual style, 300 also left a mark on modern fitness. The film's look relied not only on visual effects, but on the real physiques of its actors. To look like genuine Spartans, the cast underwent the infamous 300 workout, a brutal regimen involving 300 reps without any rest. This routine included pull-ups, deadlifts, push-ups, box jumps, floor wipers, and kettlebell clean and press drills. The workout was so intense that, according to Men's Health, only one cast member was able to complete the entire routine. Gerard Butler himself admitted that he was too exhausted to train at all for over a year after filming ended. The chiseled and ripped appearance of the Spartans quickly captured the public's imagination. Fitness magazines and gyms began promoting similar training plans. According to Time, and Entertainment Tonight, the film even started a broader conversation about body image and extreme fitness goals, especially among young men. The ideal of the Spartan body, lean and muscular, became a new standard, and many fans began to strive to replicate it. The film's influence extended beyond Hollywood, becoming part of the global fitness culture. Amid all the creative pressure, on-set injuries, and physical strain, something unexpected started to form, a profound bond between the cast. Let's delve into the brotherhood that emerged among the Spartans. As King Leonidas, Gerard Butler carried the weight of leadership, both within the story and on the set. He later spoke openly about how crucial the sense of unity among the actors was to authentically capturing the spirit of Sparta. The ensemble cast, which included Lena Headey, David Wenham, Dominic West, and Michael Fassbender, were not just co-stars. They became training partners, emotional anchors, and most importantly, a true team. Butler described the experience as life-changing, explaining that their connection helped them feed off each other's energy and push through the most difficult parts of filming. He emphasized that the trust and camaraderie among the cast members became as important as any choreography or dialogue in making the Spartan bond feel real. From the very beginning of the project, the cast was put into the same brutal physical training, with sessions lasting for hours each day. They worked side by side, often in silence, pushing themselves through the demanding 300 workout that left their bodies exhausted and aching. But these sessions weren't just about building muscle. They built loyalty. The actors didn't just suffer together. They supported one another through the pain, cheered each other on during intense drills, and shared meals and laughs in the few quiet moments between takes. For Butler and his stars, the workouts became a ritual that brought them closer, aligning their minds with the warrior characters they were portraying. Butler often spoke about how this shared suffering created a powerful sense of respect and brotherhood. He recalled in one interview that by the time filming started, the cast had not only bonded, but had developed a kind of unspoken understanding. "We were like a team," he said. "When we stood on set, we felt like we had already been through war. We knew each other's strengths. We knew each other's pain. That made the performance real." This genuine connection translated directly into the film, where the Spartans are portrayed not just as fighters, but as a unified force that fights and dies for each other. The bond extended beyond the training sessions. The cast shared their frustrations with the heat, the blue screen isolation, and the physical toll of wearing armor under the studio lights. They leaned on each other to cope with long hours, repeated takes, and the psychological pressure of acting without traditional sets or scenery. For Lena Headey, who played Queen Gorgo, and David Wenham, who portrayed the storyteller Dilios, this spirit of connection carried into their more emotional scenes, giving emotional weight to moments of loss, farewell, and sacrifice. Michael Fassbender, then a rising star, credited the group dynamic for helping him stay focused and committed. The cast's shared goal of honoring the Spartan code of courage and loyalty bound them, in ways that went far beyond the script. Their off-screen friendship became the emotional foundation for their characters' fierce unity on screen. Now, let's explore how 300 made its mark far beyond the screen, shaping fitness culture, cinema, and even pop culture for many years to come. When 300 hit theaters in 2007, few could have predicted the massive cultural footprint it would leave behind. What started as a stylized adaptation of Frank Miller's graphic novel quickly grew into a global sensation, influencing not only cinema but also fitness culture, fashion advertising, and pop culture itself. As Snet Live noted, the film became a defining moment for stylized historical epics and redefined what epic storytelling could look like for a new generation. One of the most remarkable aspects of 300 was how it set a new benchmark for visual storytelling. The use of high-contrast color grading, digitally enhanced slow-motion combat, and dramatic lighting helped to establish what would later become Zack Snyder's signature style. This highly stylized approach created an immersive world that felt both ancient and mythic, more like a legend passed down through the ages than a traditional historical drama. This distinct visual tone inspired a wave of films and television series that adopted similar aesthetics. Projects like Spartacus, Blood and Sand, Immortals, and even Game of Thrones borrowed from 300's dramatic flair, utilizing slow motion, stylized blood effects, and intense close-up action to evoke emotion and scale. The success of 300 opened the door for studios to take more visual risks, proving that audiences were ready for bold, graphic novel-inspired storytelling. Beyond the screen, 300 left a lasting impact on fitness culture. The chiseled bodies of the Spartan warriors, especially that of Gerard Butler's Leonidas, became a new benchmark for male fitness ideals. The infamous 300 workout, originally created by trainer Mark Twight for the cast, was quickly adopted by gyms, trainers, and fitness enthusiasts all over the world. Magazines like Men's Health published versions of the routine, and countless articles broke down the methods behind the cast's transformation. The idea of achieving the Spartan physique became a popular fitness goal, pushing discussions about body image, discipline, and physical endurance into the mainstream. The film also sparked conversations about masculinity and strength in the modern age. Its depiction of men bonded by duty, honor, and sacrifice resonated with audiences globally. The famous quote, "This is Sparta," roared by Butler's Leonidas, transcended the film and became a viral sensation, used in memes, parodies, and social commentary across various platforms. This single moment helped cement 300 as a piece of pop culture history. Academically, 300 sparked a renewed interest in ancient history, especially the Battle of Thermopylae. Sales of Herodotus' histories rose after the film's release, and college courses began to use the movie as a visual reference point for discussions about myth, versus fact. While many historians criticized the film's accuracy, they also acknowledged its ability to ignite curiosity among students who may never have otherwise explored the topic. In Hollywood, 300 was a game changer. It proved that a film without a major star cast, shot mostly in a warehouse using blue screens, could become a massive box office hit. It also launched Zack Snyder into the spotlight, earning him future projects like Watchmen and Man of Steel. Gerard Butler, too, saw his career take off, becoming a household name and an action icon almost overnight. Even years later, the legacy of 300 remains strong. It continues to be referenced, studied, and admired as a work that dared to do something different and succeeded. From its visual style to its physical demands, from its cultural quotes to its influence on media and fitness, 300 was more than a movie, it became a movement. And while the film's legacy reverberated across pop culture and cinema, its impact was perhaps most personal for Gerard Butler. Let's see how 300 completely transformed his career and redefined him as a leading force in Hollywood. Before 300, Gerard Butler was a relatively unknown actor, navigating his way through a number of smaller roles in both television and film. While he had shown flashes of talent and charisma in earlier performances, such as his role as the Phantom in The Phantom of the Opera in 2004 and appearances in films like Reign of Fire and Timeline, he was far from a household name. These projects gave him exposure, but none provided the kind of breakout moment that could propel him to global stardom. That moment would arrive in 2007 with his unforgettable portrayal of King Leonidas in Zack Snyder's 300. The film transformed Butler's career overnight. As the fierce and fearless Spartan king, he commanded every frame with intense physical presence and a roar that would become one of cinema's most iconic lines. "This is Sparta!" His performance resonated with audiences not just because of the character's strength, but because of the conviction Butler brought to the role. He threw himself into the physical preparation, endured the punishing training, and delivered a performance that felt raw and powerful. 300 wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon, and Butler was at the center of it. Following the success of 300, Butler became one of the most sought after leading men in Hollywood. Casting directors and studios quickly recognized his ability to carry a film, especially in roles that demanded both physical intensity and emotional depth. He began to land bigger roles, stepping into both action-heavy projects and romantic leads. His next major films included P.S. I Love You in 2007, where he starred opposite Hilary Swank in a romantic drama that showed a more sensitive side of his acting. This role helped him avoid being typecast purely as an action star. He returned to action in Gamer in 2009 and the crime drama Rock'n'Rolla in 2008, directed by Guy Ritchie, further proving his range and willingness to take on diverse characters. Then came Law-Abiding Citizen in 2009, a dark thriller where he played a man seeking revenge on a flawed justice system. The film was a box office success and highlighted Butler's ability to portray morally complex characters. Butler also found his footing in comedy and romantic films. The Ugly Truth in 2009, where he starred alongside Katherine Heigl, became a popular romantic comedy, while The Bounty Hunter in 2010, opposite Jennifer Aniston, continued his streak of commercially successful, if critically mixed, releases. These films kept him in the public eye and solidified his versatility. Despite his ventures into different genres, Butler remained closely associated with action and epic roles. He returned to ancient history in Gods of Egypt in 2016, took on a disaster in Geostorm in 2017, and anchored the Fallen series. Olympus Has Fallen in 2013, London Has Fallen in 2016, and Angel Has Fallen in 2019, where he portrayed Mike Banning, a hardened Secret Service agent. These films reinforced his action hero status and built a loyal fan base around his rugged, no-nonsense persona. Butler has also continued to work on smaller, more character-driven films like Machine Gun Preacher in 2011 and Greenland in 2020, where he combined action with deeper emotional themes. These projects showed that while he could lead major blockbusters, he was equally interested in stories that challenged him as an actor. In the years since 300, Gerard Butler has carved out a lasting presence in Hollywood. The film didn't just elevate his career, it defined it. It gave him a global audience, a signature role, and a platform to explore a wide range of characters across genres. For many fans, he will always be King Leonidas, the fearless warrior who made death look like destiny. But for Butler, 300 was the start of a journey that turned him into one of modern cinema's most recognizable and enduring stars. With these revelations about the behind-the-scenes struggles, has your perspective on 300 and Butler's performance shifted? Did their journey change how you view the final film? We'd love to hear from you in the comments.